Planet Dolan.
From sitting next to bird-killing psychopaths to getting a foot wedged inside of you, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the most disturbing things that have ever happened to you on a bus, Part 2. I'm Zaragambar, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 9 was submitted by Killdozer688. When Honeybits was in high school, her bus driver had a reputation for being someone you did not want to mess with. He was always so angry that the students nicknamed him Pitbull. If anyone made so much as a sound during the drive, he would stop the bus and scream at the person who did it. One time a student got on board and started making a lot of noise, which made Pitbull instantly rage. He screamed at the student and threw them from the moving bus. Nobody dared to piss off Pitbull after that, and Honeybits could not wait to get off that bus at the end of every day. Number 8 was submitted by RedWelsh22. During his freshman year, Nixium joined his high school football team. One time they were on a bus travelling 4 hours to play a match against another school. Halfway into the trip, Nixium started having an asthma attack and quickly gulped his entire Gatorade. His mouth was so dry from the incident that it was causing him pain. He asked anyone on the bus if they had a drink they could spare. One of the guys threw Nixium a yellow Gatorade, or so he thought. After a mouthful of the liquid, he soon realised that it was actually somebody's urine, not Gatorade. He spat it out and tried not to vomit for the rest of the trip. Number 7 was submitted by Toriel Pai. The most disturbing thing that happened to Doopy on the bus was when she was going on a field trip to the zoo. All the kids were excited, talking and chatting with buddies. Then out of nowhere, this kid in the back row starts screaming uncontrollably loud. It was a bloody murder scream. Everyone looked at him in pure confusion. Even the teachers and the bus driver stopped and stared. Then he just randomly went silent and started talking to his friends like nothing ever happened. When they arrived at the zoo, he started again. All of the animals nearby ran away from him in terror. She never found out what was wrong with the kid. Number 6 was submitted by KateF123. Ramona and Ladybot were sitting next to each other on a bus talking once, when suddenly the bus came to a stop and the bus driver stormed up the aisle and stood at the seat next to them. He looked at the boys next to them and demanded they hand over anything that took pictures. They had no idea what was going on, so the driver explained that whenever the bus went over speed bumps, the creepy guys were taking photos of the girls because of the way their boobs bounced around. Ramona and Ladybot were so pissed off that they smacked both the perverts on their way off the bus. Number 5 was submitted by Emily Jones 24658. Tolop was on a bus with his friends once and they were joking around. Tolop had a particularly funny story and his friend laughed so hard that they peed their pants. His friend realised what had happened and covered himself with a bag to hide the accident. The disturbing part was while his friend waited for his stop, he took his finger and dabbed it in the pee and then licked his urine-covered finger. Tolop almost projectile vomited from the sight, but his friend shrugged and said, "Whatever, it's pretty good." He couldn't look at his friend in the eyes after that. Number 4 was submitted by Lord Lotad. One time, Pringle was on the late bus home. There weren't many people on the bus, so he took his seat and began to read a book. At the next stop, a guy got on the bus, plainly holding a cigarette, yet the driver let him on anyway. The guy chose the seat right behind him. Every time he inhaled on the cigarette, he would then exhale smoke all onto Pringle's head. As his stop approached, Pringle picked up his bag when he suddenly felt a searing pain on the top of his head. He quickly realised that the man had tried to put his cigarette out on Pringle's head, and acting on pure instinct, he turned and punched him in the face. The bus driver didn't notice a thing, and he got off the bus and went home. Number 3 was submitted by TheThe23. When Spinal Palm was very young, he was on a bus with his father. He was excited to be travelling on a bus and he stuck his arm out the window. Spinal Palm turned to his father and said, "Hey Dad, it's raining." His dad looked out the window. It was a bright sunny day and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. Spinal Palm quickly realised it wasn't rain. At the front of the bus, a passenger who was having motion sickness was vomiting violently out the window. He looked at his arm. It was covered in chunks of vomit. The smell of the vomit made Spinal Palm vomit out of the window too. Number 2 was submitted by Ichidon. When Dolan was in 7th grade, it was winter and it was really cold. He was waiting in the aisle of his bus for all the other students to take their seats. The floor was wet from all the melted ice dripping on people's feet. Everyone was pushing and shoving trying to find a seat when suddenly Dolan slipped on some melted snow and tripped over. One of his friends accidentally trampled all over him and somehow lodged his entire foot up Dolan's rectum. The rest of the bus found this hilarious and gave Dolan the nickname Footbutt for the rest of the year. Number 1 was submitted by me. One time I was on the bus and a pregnant woman went into labour. There was a lot of commotion and a guy took the opportunity to try and rob her. Fortunately, she had a gun and was able to shoot him before he could take any of her valuables. The wild boar that he was walking at the time went crazy. He jumped around everywhere and knocked out the driver, which made everyone panic. Once everything had settled down a little, we found out the boar was actually a surgeon. He was able to stitch up the bullet wound and deliver the woman's baby without a problem. He then took over the bus and drove us to the hospital, where everyone got ice cream.
Hey guys, Sid here for the outro. A huge thanks to the folks over on Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's the biggest risk you took that ended badly? Let us know on the Reddit page linked below and you might be featured in a future countdown. Catch you guys next time.